Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 4v4 match on the map Twin Waters. I'm starting in the bottom right position, playing as the Allies. So for those of you who don't know this map, it's sort of like a square map with a path through the middle. And you've got like the teams spread around the edges of the map. Each team starts with ore patches and some sort of gems. Now, I'm right at the end of my team, so I've got an opponent who's in the middle bottom. And I'm going to have to be careful here because the person who starts in the middle bottom, you can see, has all those gems near him. So he's going to be using those pure gems where I've got like an ore/gem patch, and yeah, I'm going to have to send my ore truck to collect the gems, but it's just a little bit less efficient than if you've got like a pure gem patch. So I am going to get that an ore silo just so I don't waste any funds, and going straight onto my war factory. And you can see there that pink ore truck going and collecting the gems. It looks like he hasn't placed his ore refinery right next to the gem patch, so he is getting some time wasted from travelling time. So at least he's got that, but you can see with those pure gems, it's going to give him like quite an economic boost. And my first war factory is on its way, but I'm just having to sort my infantry out, and you can see now blue up there. I'm just trying to get around the pink infantry and maybe get some damage done to his base, and pink has lost a lot of infantry there, and I'm now getting my first war factory out, where I'm going to take a risk and go for more ore trucks than I'd usually use. And we can see now that pink's got those infantry back, and he's just took out my infantry there. So we just have to hold for the time being because you can now see that blue's coming and pink has a light tank on the battlefield. So again, what I'm trying to do is just go around the outside and just I'm just trying to sort of like delay his first attack with tanks. So if I can get infantry round to the back of his base, that's going to delay him a bit. And now you can see him using those tanks to sort of like chase my infantry. So at the moment he's not going to focus on attacking. It's sort of like just a delay tactic, so that I can get my couple of ore trucks out and start building tanks. And you can see now he's took his tanks around the back and squashed those infantry. And now I'm getting some tanks out. So I'm really wanting to hold at the moment though, and there you can see my teammate coming through, and pink has more light tanks. We'll have to see if he's going to go on the attack. He's just working on squashing some infantry at the moment, and he's lost a tank there. I've also lost a tank as well, but we're just going to try and move our tanks around as much as possible and take economic fights. And you can see at the moment we're sort of like almost equal on tanks, but Cyan is now bringing some heavy tanks in, which could cause a few problems. And hopefully my teammate does have some tanks on the way, and indeed he does. You can see those heavy tanks now coming in, and hopefully you can see I'm starting to get sort of the slight upper hand. And what I'm going to try and do is try and do some economic damage as well. You can see two of those tanks on very low HP, and we'll have them out shortly. And now that we've got the tank numbers, we're going to go for the economy. So you can see that ore truck going down, and that's one ore truck down. You can see that pink's got another ore truck there, so we'll try and take that out also, and that's going to put pink in a very difficult situation. But you can see Cyan coming in with quite a few tanks there, but it does look like this second ore truck is going to go down. And that might mean that pink doesn't have any ore trucks at the moment, which is going to mean he's not going to be able to build many more tanks. But now that Cyan has the tank advantage, he's got heavy tanks. But you can see my teammate Blue is coming in with some heavy tanks of his own, and that's going to provide the support I'm going to need here to take out this Cyan army. You can still see pink with a couple of light tanks there, but at the moment I can't see any extra ore trucks. So I don't know, he might be building some possibly, or he might be building an ore refinery, we don't know for the time being, but he's certainly going to be delayed. One thing we always need to remember on this map is it's a map of two halves, so there will be something else going on at the other end, and usually you don't want to stick around too long, otherwise one side of the map wins, and the other side, and the side of the map that wins first usually wins the map, because then you get attacked from your behind in your base. But now you can see this fight keeping on going. It is looking good for us right at the moment, although pink seems to have another tank. I don't know, maybe he's got an ore truck at the other side of his base, although that will be less effective. And now you can see that blue is trying to go around the outside, and that's going to give me the opportunity just to take out these pink tanks and just have a bit of a better look at his base. And we can actually see, I think maybe he's getting more tanks because he's sold some buildings, because I don't see a construction yard there, any power plants or anything like that. So now it's just a case of trying to destroy the rest of Pink's buildings and destroy those cyan tanks. And you can see now blue going for the last buildings of Pink, but his last tanks are going down, and that's effectively going to be Pink out of the game, and officially he will be soon out as well. And at the moment I'm just trying to strengthen my economy. You can see quite a few of the gems have been used up, and now we're going to go further forward, and you can see that Pink is officially out of the game, but also one of our teammates is out of the game as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what happened at the other side of the map while we were doing all that fighting. So yeah, because that's our team at the top of the map. So very early on we can see that red was very aggressive with infantry, bringing them straight in, and then purple trying to fight those infantry. Now the thing is, purple's sort of like being forced to use its ore truck here, so that's like forcing some idle time with his ore truck when it could have been collecting resources. So that's a win partly of itself. And you can see that red there has gone for very aggressive. He's gone for 2 barracks, so he's been able to build those infantry really quickly. He's forced some idle time from purple, and also his ore truck is collecting just pure gems because of where he started. So he's going to have like an economy that's will allow him to build more infantry at the start and not get punished for it later. And you can see now green coming in with him. So sort of like in the base there, but we can see that purple started to build up his infantry forces, and also we can see that yellow is coming through with lots of infantry too, just to give him a bit of support. You can see yellow's infantry there, and basically now they're going to be in a bit of a standoff, because what you can't do is you can't run groups of infantry into other groups of infantry, else you lose a lot. So we're just going to wind it a little bit forward, and we can see purple did something quite interesting here. He's built an artillery, and you can see that artillery going up there and now firing on some of those infantry. Because what artillery do is they do really good damage against infantry. They're just not very effective against tanks. And here, we need to be really careful, because green needs to get those tanks that he's got at the back of red's base right into the front. Because if red had got attacked here, he would have been in big trouble. But green finally getting those light tanks to the front, just to provide some defence when it's needed. And we can see now purple looking a bit aggressive with those medium tanks, and also yellow, it looks like he's going to be coming in as well. And now the attack commences. You can see yellow going across the top. Purple looks to be focusing more on the bottom of the base, and yellow's going to be going, I think, for that construction yard, which he does. And green's defending at the front. We'll have to see what purple decides to go for. Whether is he going to go for the ore truck, or maybe the ore refinery. And that construction yard is being sold now, because it was going to go down. And you can see now yellow going for the war factories, while purple goes for the ore refinery. Although the ore refinery is probably the best thing to go for at this point, because he's got 3 war factories. So he'll still be able to have a reasonable building speed even with one of those war factories down. But now purple's pulling back, and yellow's going for that ore refinery, and that ore refinery goes down. So red no longer has any funds to build more tanks. We can see here though green going for the attack on purple. He's destroyed 1 war factory, and it looks like he's going for the next war factory. So the second war factory looks like it's going to go down. Possibly. He just needs to pull some of those tanks back and destroy it, and it does go down. And now going for the construction yard. If he gets the construction yard down, then purple can no longer build any units. He's also, purple sold his barracks, so he can't even build infantry now. So purple is effectively out of the game once those tanks he's got are destroyed. And now you can see that yellow is going for the base kill on red. He's losing a lot of tanks doing it, but it looks like red haven't got many buildings left, and it looks like he might go down, and then it'll just be a straight fight between green and yellow. And that barrack, that is on low HP, and it goes down, and red is officially out of the game. And that's sort of what we saw happening. That's what was happening on this side of the map while we were fighting at the bottom. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and see what started to happen at our side of the map. So this is where we left off. We just defeated the middle team, Pink, and now we're going for Cyan. And you can see those tanks for Cyan are on low HP, and it looks like we're going to be able to push forwards. I'm also just building another ore truck just to improve my economy a little bit more. I'm going to try and use some of those gems that are in the middle and build another ore refinery. So now we're going to see what Cyan's base is like. We haven't actually ventured into this part of the map yet, so we don't know if he's got base defences or whatever he's got here. We could also see a service depot, and what that tells me is he may have built an extra MCV. We're just going to go for that war factory. I'm just having a look at the middle, and we can see our teammate has got that extra MCV out in the middle, which is really good because that means he's mining gems, and he's going to be getting a lot of resources which he could put into tanks on the battlefield. But yeah, we're pushing forward. We've taken out one war factory. There's another couple of war factories here. So we're going to... And every time we destroy a war factory, that's going to slow his building speed. And I've got another ore refinery there. I'm going to use that to mine some more gems. So yeah, we've got another war factory out, and we're going to destroy that third war factory. And I wonder if that might be his last war factory at this point in time. And yeah, that war factory looks like it's going to go down, and it does. And now we're going to take out that barracks as well, because those infantry can be super annoying when they're in large numbers, although they are able to squash them quite easily. And now we're going further into Cyan's base, and we can see another barracks there, which I'm going to want to take out quickly. We're going to get further into the base, and hopefully soon we're going to be able to find that construction yard. And you can just see he's trying to spam barracks just to delay the inevitable, probably. Trying to find that... Yeah, just trying to find that construction yard, which I can't see at the moment. He might have moved it into a different parts of the map. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the attack on yellow, because we can see there the back of his base unguarded. So we'll go for some of those major buildings. Ore refinery going down, and now we're going to go for that war factory. Of course, they'll have other ore refineries further in. We might have actually made it easy for him with his ore truck not travelling as far. And we can see Cyan with some infantry back here for some reason. So it depends whether, and we can see there his construction yard going further up the map to the base at the top. But now what we're trying to do is we're trying to take out yellow's major buildings. We've got his construction yards, and now we're going for his war factories. I'm just going to build a pillbox at my base, and that's just a precaution because we saw Cyan has a lot of infantry, and we don't want to get our base destroyed. And we can see some purple tanks there going for my tanks. So we'll just destroy those, and we're going to go have a bit of a further look up the map. And this is the first point that I actually saw Purple's base. So at this point I didn't know that Purple was in such a bad state, and didn't know that he didn't have any buildings left. But now I see it. I see that Purple's pretty much out of the game, and we've just got some of Yellow's base to destroy. But what I see now is I can see that Yellow is going for my base. And because I've taken out all of Yellow's buildings, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my base and just fight this out. Because if I'm able to destroy those yellow tanks before my base is destroyed, then it's game over. Because it's going to be about tanks on battlefield. And as long as our bases don't get destroyed. So now I'm bringing my tanks back, just as a precaution. And we'll just fight this out. And you can see a lot of those yellow tanks on low HP. And even if he destroys my ore refineries, it's not over. I could build an MCV actually, because you can see I've got the funds. And put those yellow tanks just not in great enough numbers. And you can see a lot of them going down pretty quickly. He is going to get my last ore refinery, so that's going to go down. But you can see his tank numbers now are just in a bad state. And put Blue going in with his heavy tanks. Because we could see that Blue was on the middle of the map. So he was mining gems. And I didn't know where Yellow was. I didn't know whether he had another base somewhere else on the map. So that's... anyway, my base is out now. I've actually spent all my funds on tanks. So I'm not going to be building another MCV. But that's not going to matter at this point. Because it is a good game. You can see that Cyan is basically gone. I think he's got an well, I don't know if he has an MCV somewhere still. But there, Yellow's got his last few buildings. And Blue is destroying those. As usual, with games on this map, it's a map of two halves. And we won the bottom pretty much before they won the top. And also, my teammates did manage to get an MCV on the middle part. where he had the gems, so even if I'd been defeated, he would have been able to win the game eventually. Anyway, thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the video.